Before 1492, America was not empty, it was not silent, and it was not waiting to be discovered. Long before European ships touched these shores, millions of people were already living here. They were building cities, farming the land, trading across continents, shaping civilizations most history books barely mention. This is the America that existed before Columbus. When Christopher Columbus arrived in the Caribbean, Europe believed it had found a new world. But to the people already living here, it was not new at all. North and South America were home to advanced societies. They had developed independently. For thousands of years, they had governments, religions, engineering, trade networks that stretched hundreds of miles. Yet, when European explorers wrote their stories, these civilizations were often described as primitive or ignored entirely. That misunderstanding would change the course of history. Forever across the continent, different cultures thrived in different environments. In North America, large nations like the Mississippian culture built massive cities near rivers. Their capital, Cahokia, near modern-day St. Louis, once had a population larger than London. At the same time, Cahokia had planned neighborhoods, enormous earth mounds, and complex social hierarchies. Further south, civilizations like the Maya, Aztec, and Inca mastered astronomy, mathematics, and architecture. They built cities aligned with the stars, road systems across mountains, and farming techniques still used today. This was not a wilderness. This was a continent shaped by human hands. Native Americans were not only hunters, they were innovators. They domesticated crops like corn, potatoes, tomatoes, and cacao, foods that would later change the entire world. Trade routes connected tribes and empires, crossed thousands of miles. Copper from the Great Lakes traveled south, seashells from the coast traveled deep inland. Knowledge was passed down orally, through stories, rituals, and traditions, not written books. This made European historians wrongly assume there was no history at all. But history was everywhere. These societies were not perfect. They were not peaceful. There were wars, rivalries, power, struggles. But most native cultures believed land was not owned, it was shared. Nature was not conquered, it was respected. This worldview would later clash violently with European ideas of ownership, wealth, and control. And that clash was unavoidable. When Europeans arrived, they saw no stone castles, no iron armor, no written language they recognized, so they assumed weakness. What they didn't understand was that these societies were adapted to their environments, not Europe's expectations. This single misunderstanding became the foundation for conquest, enslavement, and war. And soon, something far deadlier than swords would arrive. Today, many Americans grow up believing history began in 1492. But that date did not mark a beginning. It marked an interruption. Entire civilizations were pushed aside, rewritten, forgotten. Not because they were insignificant, but because they stood in the way of empire. Understanding America before Columbus forces us to question what we've been taught and what was deliberately left out. In the next chapter, European ships finally make contact with this world. What began as curiosity would quickly turn into conflict, then catastrophe, because the first meeting between Europe and America did not create a new world. It destroyed an old one.